Hey, Easy Agent Proers, this is Tyler, and welcome to episode 13 of the In the Lead series. Really excited about this series for you. We're interviewing Dirk Zeller from Real Estate Champions today. Going to dive deep on how to slow down in order to speed up, because I think that's a lot of what people are feeling right now, that there's just this hustle, do this, do that in order to generate leads and stay in business. And sometimes you have to just take a step back before you can take like 10 steps forward. So Dirk and I dive deep into what that means and how it can be applicable to you in real estate. Really hope this gets hit something for you. It really challenged me to make our business better here at Easy Agent Pro. So without further ado, let's get into it. Here's Dirk. Hey, Easy Agent Proers, really excited here. I've got Dirk. He's former top producing agent. He's got tons of tips on how you can achieve that in your business. And so we're going to kind of grill him today and see what he would do if he was starting over in real estate. He's got tons of great books out there, 250 articles to his credit. He was the person selected to write the Dummies article for real estate, and then has gone on to write tons and tons of other books to help top producing agents perform better, middle producing agents become top producing agents. So really excited to welcome you to the show, Dirk. Thanks for being here.
Hey, it's my pleasure. Great to be here today.
Great. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Is there anything I missed in that intro?
Well, I could give you that I was born in a log cabin and I walked uphill both ways in snow, to school every day, which my father frequently reminds me of that he did.
Right.
But yeah, I've just had a great career, and I've been blessed to work with a lot of amazing people all over the world. I mean, our content that we build at Real Estate Champions is used in more than 97 different countries across the globe, and I've just had a great honor to be able to write and speak and just have a impact on the people we interact with. And that's the greatest value of all, is watching somebody take what you've designed or your experience and apply it in their business and their life and see them grow and see their life change. And nothing's better than having a front row seat in another human being's success show.
Right. Yeah. So let's get into that. I guess let's imagine that I just severed your relationships, took away your Rolodex, put you in somewhere just halfway across the country, and you were producing at a middle level. And how would you then take the things you teach or the things that you've done to do this? What would be your step-by-step method from going to that sort of middle level of production to a top tier?
Well, I think you have to first start with an analysis, which most agents struggle with in knowing where their business comes from, knowing what their strengths points are. So I would say to the agent, hey, let's slow down so we can speed up here a little bit, and let's take a look at where are you generating your leads from? What are your strengths in terms of lead generation? Is it coming from past clients? Is it coming online? What's your online strategy? And just take a look at, hey, do we have 3 pillars of your business that functionally generate leads at more than 15% each? So let's say, as most agents, the strongest pillar is past clients and sphere. Great.
Right. But
it shouldn't be more than 70% of your business, because if it is, you've got an instability. You've got, as my mom used to say to me, all my eggs in one basket.
Right.
And it doesn't matter what the basket is, whether it's past clients or sphere, whether it's online leads, whether it's some pay-per-click campaign, or whatever they're doing, right? They shouldn't have all their eggs in one basket, because that basket can get moved and changed and adjusted. And the second thing is, we've found that you have to have 15% of your business at least coming from different sources. Now, the overreach so many agents do, which is, I'm going to go out and throw 800 fishing lines in the water,
right.
and they can't watch 800 polls. It's that disease of more. Well, gosh, if this is good, gosh, I'm going to throw. But the problem is they can't watch it, they can't monitor it, they don't know the return on the investment. And so we really philosophize on what I call a lead triad, or you can have 4 or 5, but you should have strengths. So when one makes an adjustment, you can focus on it, or you can ramp up the others because they're actually proven, as opposed to the Braille method that so many people do. And so that's what I would start with. I mean, certainly, if you're expanding your business, you have to first protect what you currently have.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you've got to protect what you currently have. Then you've got to look for expansion opportunities in the strength areas you already have. The risk is minimized in that, and the reward is greater. And I look at any business is the evolution of evaluating what is the risk versus the reward that I'm going to generate, so I'm profitable. And I know you'd asked me questions, and we'd had conversations about kind of my claim to fame and being able to work 4 days a week,
right,
taking Friday and Saturday and Sunday off. And everybody, even in today's world, looks at that and goes, how in the world do you do that?
Right.
Well, I understand. I was at my vacation home 3 days a week, living Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in Bend, Oregon, where I now live full time. But I understand, everybody, it's having that lead triad, having that consistency of lead generation, call it prospecting, call it lead generation, call it whatever you want so you can feel better about it. But the consistency of going out, finding people. I was primarily on the listing side, and all the buyer side was handled by 1 or 2 buyer's agents, so I had a small, intimate team. And administration was handled by the administration group, and my job was to go out and secure listings and convince people to functionally list with me and build a listing inventory that wasn't just sitting there. And in today's market, it doesn't sit there. I totally get that. We're battling to get listings left and right now because inventory is so low.
Right.
But the goal has to be, look at your business as a business first and foremost. I got asked, and you'll love the story, I got asked by NAR a handful of years ago in an interview, and they were asking a number of coaches and trainers and experts in the industry, what made you, the last question was, what made you so successful? And I said to this interviewer, which I got a big rise out of her, I said, well, because I was never a real estate agent. I was never a realtor.
Right.
And she goes, what, you weren't a member of NAR? I said, no, that's not what I said. I said, I was never a realtor. I was a business person that happened to sell real estate.
Yep.
And I ran a business. And a lot of the agents don't do that. They don't run a business. Even if they have a business, right? They have teams and they have all these assistants that are underneath them and buyer's agents and listing specialists, but many of them struggle with the business aspect of the business. They don't have management system, monitoring systems, they don't have tracking systems, we've literally built all that to help our clients run the ship and be at the tiller or at the wheel of their ship so they can steer it where they want to go.
So what's that? Because I agree with you. It starts with analysis and then finding your pillars. You don't want one, like the Parthenon wasn't built with one pillar. There's like 100 of them. And then, to expand, you need to understand where you've been. But like, what's a clear step or 3 steps that someone can take today? Because I think I can resonate with a little bit of my audience who is sitting there right now listening to this saying, when am I supposed to push the pause button? Isn't that going to stop my commission checks from coming in order to take the time to completely analyze these metrics? So what would you say to someone who's sitting there thinking that right now?
Well, they don't have to do it all tomorrow, right? Some of the challenge they're having, as all agents are having, is the time management aspect. Right, they're being pulled like taffy, and texts are coming in, emails are coming in, interruptions are coming in, all that. realm is being controlled by them. What they need to do is block out an hour of business management time on a weekly basis where they can do this analysis and look at their business, and they take one little chunk of time over a 3 or a 4 week period. I mean, it's the start that stops most people.
That's so true.
And so it's okay. Let's not set a goal or objective that I'm going to have this all done in the next 3.5 seconds, right? Let's set a goal to have it done in the next 3 weeks, and let's go step by step. Okay, where do the leads come from? How am I doing in conversion? What are my core sources? And then what am I doing to generate business in those sources, right? Is it through a specific design or strategy, or is it, hey, whoa, it's kind of default, right? I'm kind of getting a little bit lucky here. And this is actually what happens to agents when they start business planning, as an example, when they start looking at the next year and they start finishing off a year, and then they pop up, look around in January, and they look, hey, you know what, gosh, I had a pretty good year. And then they look at it and they go, but I have no idea how I did that.
Right.
And so the panic sets in of, how do I reproduce that? Because I know, not that they were a fraud, but they didn't have a plan, right, to get there. And so therefore they go, whoa, it's like I've built my home on sand and here comes the waves. Whoops.
Yeah. So like, what are those, are there core 3 pillars, or is it for you, is it like whatever works for that agent? What's your philosophy there?
Well, I have to tell you, obviously the most important pillar of your business is past clients and sphere.
Yep.
It's the lead gen pillar, and it's the one that we do almost by default. And then you've got these people out there that are saying that's the only business, right? That you shouldn't be working on anything else. Are you kidding me? I mean, I think that's one of the greatest things about real estate is because there's so many different ways to generate leads. Right, I've got clients, certainly, that primarily work past client and sphere. I've got other clients that work expireds for sale by owners. I've got other clients that work divorce attorneys. Right, I've got other clients that have great lead generation online systems. They're working with Zillow and Trillion and Realtor.com. They're running their own PPC campaigns. I mean, that's one of the great, I've got clients that work investor niches and really are skillful in terms of working investors. I've got clients that target small investors and do plexes, and they control the plex market, not the big apartment market where the commercial guys tend to live, but smaller apartments and mini plexes, and sell those. I've got clients that farm particular areas. I've got clients that do mega open houses and generate a lot of business from doing mega open houses. There isn't a right or wrong here, but I can tell you fairly quickly, what you should be doing. I'll give you an example. Very early in my career, I went to a seminar, and some guy said to me, hey, gosh, you need to go out and door knock. So being the guy that I was, hey, I'm going to do whatever it takes to be successful in this business, I went out and door knocked. Right, I hit a whole bunch of doors over a couple of week period, and I came to the conclusion that I hated it. Hated it. It wasn't my image of who I was. I just didn't feel comfortable about it. I am not that kind of a person. I was great at calling expireds. That was a niche of my business that I was very successful at. So I found my niche. Right, I worked past clients, I worked expireds, I worked for sale by owners. I primarily worked on the listing side of the business. That was the niche that generated me 120 to 150 new listings a year.
Great, wow.
Every single year.
So is that, if I'm hearing correctly, it was your past clients, then expireds, and for sale by owners. Was that your 3 pillars?
Those were my 3. And obviously, that was in the era that there wasn't as much internet.
Right.
Internet work, and the information wasn't out on the open, but everybody, I mean, I'd certainly be involved in the internet today. We are, as a company, at a significant level in terms of building our list and mastering that process.
Right.
But, call capture is a good option.
There are thousands of things you can do for just pick 3 you like and double down on it.
Yeah, the problem is there's always going to be the next shiny object in this business. And I will tell all your listeners, focus will always come before success.
Yep.
They have to focus on something, and they have to do it long enough. You can make any of these pay that I just listed, and I probably listed 20 different strategies to generate leads. You can make any of them pay and pay well if you focus on them and you do it for a long enough period of time. And what I mean by that is I'm not going to try it for a week and then quit. Now, if you're trying it in, like I did with door knocking, and really I just couldn't see myself doing that long term, it just wasn't my visual image of me as a salesperson walking down the street banging on doors in a suit, okay, next. But for most of us, you've got to work at 4 to 5 to 6 months any new system or strategy that you're generating for leads for that period of time to know whether it works or not, to make the adjustments that you need to make. And Tyler, you certainly know this as a guy in the internet world.
Yeah.
The attention span of agents and going to, well, that didn't work.
Yep.
Is like about that.
Yep.
It should be that.
Yeah, I mean, we made a business plan for our agents a while back, and it was this exact same. What's your one goal, and what are your 3 things you're going to do to achieve that goal? Now, go focus on that for a month to 3 months. We didn't even say 6 months like you just did. We're like, try these things for a month, because you get to like experience it and taste it and live it after a month. And if you only try it for a day or once, things just don't work that way in terms of generating leads.
Well, here's the other thing that they need to look at doing. They need to monetize and look at the hours. Mm-hmm. Right, okay. So you get to the end of a month and you go, hey, well, I only got 1 listing out of it. Okay. But how many hours did you really invest in lead generation and lead conversion to get that listing? Oh, 6. What's your average commission check? $6,000. So you got paid $1,000 an hour,
right?
To do that. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't know that there's too many other things that you could probably do to generate $1,000 an hour. Mm-hmm. They need to break it down, because sometimes their mental capacity fakes themselves out. Right, if they're making $150, $200, $300, $500 an hour doing whatever they're doing to generate leads, to convert leads, to get a new listing or 2 new listings or 10 new listings, whatever it is, break it down to your hourly rate so you can make the estimation of was it worth it or not.
Right. Most of the time, yeah, that's great. I mean, at the end of the month, at the end of the quarter, you can really sort of, what do you use for tracking your time and sort of that? Do you have spreadsheets, or do you do it with any sort of program, or what do you recommend for agents looking to sort of quantify that hours and then dollars per closed listing?
Well, having written a number of books on time management, like Successful Time Management for Dummies, and a couple of salesperson books on time management. When you're a salesperson in the real estate industry specifically, you've got some portion of your time that would be direct income producing activities. Yep. Anything you're doing that directly relates and creates new revenue and new opportunity. So, as an example, prospecting. And however you define prospecting is totally fine. Prospecting is, to me, seeking a new potential customer, whether that is through a past client avenue or a warmer cold avenue. Yep. It's prospecting. You're trying to generate leads and new clients. Well, that's a highly compensated activity. That's a direct income producing activity. Certainly the looking up property, pulling information together, following up on transactions, all of that has to be done.
Mm-hmm.
But the truth is the hourly rate on that is not very high. And most agents, what happens is the mix of their business or the mix of their time gets out of whack.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm working so hard. Yeah, they're working a 10-hour day, but they're spending 9 of it in paper-pushing electrons and processing, and 1 hour a day in new lead generation, production, conversion. You're not going to make a lot of money when that's the equation. And I don't care what skill you have. If you're supremely skilled, you're still not going to make a lot of money.
Right.
Because your mix of your time is so whacked.
That seems like that goes back to that first point you said where you weren't an agent, you were a business person. And so what do you have tips for how does an agent go about making that a priority for them and making that transition from being I'm the person who runs the ship, who does the paperwork, who is the agent, to the person who's I'm the owner of this entity that just so happens to sell real estate?
Well, they've got to have a big enough margin. Sales is a margins game, and so they have to have a big enough revenue margin between what they need to run their family by and their business revenues, so they can invest the difference, maybe pull in an assistant, whether that's part-time, virtual, to start with, and literally shift some of this stuff that we do to the other side of the ledger, to somebody else. The other thing is, we as human beings, and I've studied human nature for more than 27 years, mm-hmm. we as human beings generally have 3 hours during the course of the day that we are just spot on rocking the best that we're going to be.
Right.
And those are the premium hours. And the problem is most human beings, that includes real estate agents, you gum up those premium hours with a whole bunch of garbage mm-hmm. that doesn't generate you production or quality of life or anything. It's that stuff. Save the stuff for later or earlier if you're... I mean, my wife and I, we are total opposites. I mean, she needs 3 lattes intravenously in the morning to actually wake up her brain, sure. where I basically have 2 speeds, on and off. On comes on about 4:30 in the morning and mm-hmm. carries through for a good part of the day. But my afternoon, I'm not as sharp. Certainly into the evening, I'm not. Mm-hmm. I mean, if I'm working on a book, I'm actually getting up usually at 2 or 2:30, so I increase the number of morning hours.
Right.
And because I can't do the late night grinding it out, writing, and my brain is done.
Yep. I mean, I'm the same way. Everything's like until once we hit noon or 1, it's just game over. Like game over right. for the day. Yeah.
And some people are better in the afternoon. Some people are better at mm-hmm. and you know, we always hear that, hey, you need to do it in the morning. Well, maybe that isn't right for you. And so it's that structure of knowing you, knowing your rhythm, knowing what works best and what should be done.
Mm-hmm. And you talked about, you know, we mentioned at the beginning how you were able to take Friday through Sunday off. You're able to go to your cabin, not work. And you've written a book on time management, and we're sort of at that point in the conversation. I have a question. It seems you're in internet marketing. The agents are mostly getting there, at least a percentage of their business is coming there. And it's largely a 24/7, 365 world. Like, how do you balance those 2 equations personally, and then how do you suggest agents do it?
Well, I guess my attitude would be if I do enough business, I can afford to lose, let's call it, mm-hmm. some of the potential leads in business that I might have. That's how I would approach it, mm-hmm. is, listen, I can't have it all, because where would I put it? and the issue is I'm trying to run my business plan. If I have mm-hmm. clarity in terms of my business plan, I'm on track or ahead to my business goals, and I miss some deals or some opportunities along the way because I'm recharging my battery and I'm spending quality time with my family. And maybe this is sacrilegious, but my attitude is, who cares?
Yeah, that's great.
And so for me, everybody asks me, well, do you think you lost business over the course of the weekend? Maybe, but so what?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, my goal and objective was to sell 150 homes a year. I reached that goal and objective. I maintained a very good quality business at the goal and objective. Could I have sold 200? Maybe, but you know what? The changes and the adjustment I would have had to made in my business. I had other interests in my life. I was making a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
I could live very comfortably and save very comfortably based on that production level. Now, some might say that's complacent. I would say that's self-actualized.
Mm-hmm.
That is that the goal? What's the goal for you in life? I mean, I have an 84-year-old father. He was a dentist for many years. All right? For the last 4 years, he's been fixing up a 1900s farmhouse in Donald, Oregon, and himself with a small worker, right, doing all the work himself. He built a 2-car garage, and about 6 weeks ago, I'm calling him, talking to him, and he's saying, yeah, I just bought a sawmill. I'm sawing some of the cedar logs on my property for siding to put on my garage. Now, to me, that's success.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing exactly what he wants to do. At 84 years old, he's healthy, he's engaged, he's excited, and I don't know too many 84-year-olds that would do what he's doing. And my second comment to him, Dad, I don't want it in the estate, so make sure you get it finished because I have no interest in sawing cedar logs and siding and putting them on the garage.
Right.
But he's having a ball.
Mm-hmm. So when did you set that personal goal for yourself? Was that something you saw at the beginning, or is that something you came to self-actualize, like after your first year, second year, third year in the business? When did that become clear to you?
It became clear to me about third or fourth year in the business that this was the production level that made sense for me, the lifestyle change. I wouldn't have gone to 4 days a week probably had it not been. My father worked 4 days a week. I mean, we went to a vacation home on the Oregon coast for 3 days a week during the summertime and then some. And so that was a lifestyle that I wanted to replicate ever since I was a kid. And I selected real estate, which is like totally contrary to that lifestyle. But I figured out a way to replicate it, and we were building a vacation home in Bend, Oregon, where I live now full time. But we had to be there during the construction process, and so I learned to adjust the schedule and the strategy. And when it got done, I was like, why do I want to go back to the sanity schedule that most agents have? I'm just going to continue on, and I did.
That's really cool that you're able to see that and achieve that. So, switching gears a little bit to a few more fast-paced questions that we ask most of the guests on the show. Like, what's something you wish every agent who got their license or took a step in this career came into it knowing?
Wow, that's a huge question. That's a huge question. I think the most important one is recognizing and understanding, really not just in the front of your lobes, so to speak, that you're in sales. And this is a sales business. It's a relationship business. It's a service business. But ultimately, we get a lot of people that come into the business that are kind of anti-sales or not sales. And I've seen more of it through the advent and the transition of technology.
Right.
And technology is a great tool, and the internet is a great tool, but in the end, 67% of the buyers still buy through the first agent they meet with face-to-face.
Yep.
So I look at those numbers and I go, okay, well, and everybody's saying to me, well, how do we get it to 80? I'm like, you can make a lot of money at 67. Just get more people face to face.
Run them through the door.
Yeah, I mean, don't worry about going to 80%. Yeah. Just get more at bats.
Yep.
I mean, a Major League Baseball player that bats 670.
Maybe in the Hall of Fame today. Yeah. Yeah. That's great. So I hope people. We're gonna write that down in the blog post, make like a big image, like just this is sales or something. But like, what's a favorite book? I know you've written a lot of them, but you probably read a lot of them too. Like, what's a favorite book you recommend to people or gift to people? You can pick more than one if there is.
You know, there's a number of them, but and this is probably not well known. Jim Rohn wrote a book about 20 years ago called Leading an Inspired Life. It was a compilation of Jim Rohn's life work.
Okay.
And it's literally, it's a book that I give away constantly, and in fact, it's always a gift that I give to anybody that graduates from high school.
Really?
That is a friend of ours. Whether it's family, right, or a friend, because it's that impactful. Short, write small little chapters, but Jim is one of the most brilliant individuals that have ever graced this earth, and just a really, really wonderful book that talks about life and success and strategy and everything that goes on, purpose, ambition. It's just a phenomenal read.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I haven't read that book of his, so I'll probably go check that out shortly. But so what's your life look outside of the real estate coaching thing you're doing now? You talk a lot about where you live in the vacation home you have, but is there anything else there?
Well, yeah, a couple of kids. I've got two adopted kids. Joan and I, we've been married 25 years. We were not able to have them, and so we were truly blessed with two amazing adopted kids. So Wesley's 13, Annabelle's 10, and I'm in the dad zone, and that's the best zone in life to be in.
Yeah, I'm not quite there yet, but we'll probably get there at some point. Well, Dirk, thanks so much for your time. There are a lot of knowledge that you've just dropped on our audience here, so I'm sure they'll appreciate it. And where can they find out more about you, more about your books? You have a lot of stuff online. Where is all that?
Everything's at realestatechampions.com, www.realestatechampions.com, my company. Or certainly, if they're looking for books, they can go to Amazon. That's obviously the world leader in going, and all my books are on Amazon.
And you have courses too online. You were telling me where do you go? What type of things do you cover? We covered a whole breadth of topics today, but I'm assuming some of those are in your courses too?
Absolutely. We cover all different genres in terms of the courses, and we have a lot of courses that are e-learning. Interactive e-learning that have gamification and video in them, and they're literal courses. We're the only one really in the real estate industry and that I know of that's building level 2 e-learning, immersive e-learning, where you're participating in the learning experience rather than just watching a video, so to speak, or a compilation of videos. So we have that available.
And that's all on the site, so realestatechampions.com?
Correct, realestatechampions.com.
So I'll link that up in both the audio version of this and then the show notes so people can go check that out. But thanks so much for taking the time today to sit down with us. I know I've learned a lot. I'm going to go check out that book probably this afternoon and read it. I like to read in the afternoon. So any parting words or just like to leave it at that?
Stay focused. Stay consistent. Consistency is the key in this business. And you're not going to get to where you want to be in a week or a month, but you're going to get where you want to be in 6 months or a year or 2 years or a 20-year career. The law of accumulation or the compounding effect or whatever you want to call it is alive and well, and that's the secret to success. Wow, yeah. Thanks for leaving us with that. It inspires me personally too. So thanks for everything, Dirk. Have a great day. Enjoy the vacation home there, and we'll talk with you soon. My pleasure. Bye now.
Easy Agent Proers. I hope you found that really useful. If you've liked this episode of In the Lead, please do go check out Dirk's website. You can find it at realestatechampions.com. Like always, you can go find more information just written up, all the things we talked about, all the links at easyagentpro.com/blog. You can find our podcast there, tons of resources. Do join the email list and like us on Facebook. You can reach out to me directly on Twitter if you have your own questions. We're going to be doing an Ask Ty episode, about 2 or 3 of them next week. So head over to easyagentpro.com/ask, and you can shoot me just any questions you have, and we'll get some answers up there. We're a bit deep right now, but if you ask a question, we'll try to get that on the show. So go over to easyagentpro.com/ask, or you can reach out to me on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, I really encourage you to leave a comment below. Just leave things you liked, questions you have to go deeper. I'll get Dirk on those comments if you ask a question for him. I know I'll respond within a day at least. You can reach out to us on Twitter. So talk with you soon. Tyler with Easy Agent Pro. Let me know what you liked in the comments. Have a good one.